And it talks about how 98% of the population is what he calls drifters. Right? What does he mean by drifters? You do the minimum. When you need to pay a Visa bill, you get off your butt and sell something. When the doctor says your blood pressure is too high, you get off your butt and change your diet. But you do the minimum. You do what's required of you at that moment. And that's 98% of us. There's only 2% really, truly fulfill their true potential. And why is that? Why do only 2% of society achieve their potential while 98 just kind of go on drifting? And it comes down to goals and setting goals and having something to go after. So if you have a goal written down, if your mindset is one, I want to achieve my goal, you're light years ahead of everyone else who just says, I'm good. I sell 1 or 2 homes, 4 homes, I'm happy. Heck, if you sell 4 homes, you are what 75% of the GTA sell. 4 homes, 75% of the GTA. Did anyone read that in the REM magazine? How many homes that the average agent sells? Did anyone read that article? Yeah. Coming up February. Might be in the magazine, but if you go online, you'll be able to read it. 34.6% sold. How many homes?
0.
Less than 1.
0. It's not even less than 1. It was 0. Imagine that. Almost 35% of the realtors out there sold 0 homes. And 74% sold 4 or less. Right? So if you're selling 5 homes, you're the top 25%. Fantastic. Right? Strive high, baby. Right? So goals. We're focusing on your mindset, focus on your goals. Right? We want to make sure that you have clear, defined goals. That's the #1 challenge. When I was a kid, right? My dad and 3 of his brothers owned a grocery store. Kind of small mom and pop grocery store, right? It wasn't like a Fortino's or anything. It was more like, I don't know, just an Ofros, like a smaller version of Ofros. We had 30, 40 employees. And what I noticed from our employees, we had guys that would come in there right at the time that they're supposed to be there, right? They're there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then 5 o'clock, they're out the door, right? You ask them to come on the weekends, they say no. They just do the minimum. They just do what they have to. Then, of course, you always got the guys that always show up late. They're supposed to be there at 8, and they're showing up like 8:15, 8:30. And whenever they have a chance, they're out the door. They can get there 4:30, 4:45, 5, 10, 15 minutes early, they're out. And that's normal, right? We all know this. Then you get some extraordinary people. Ones that would come in early and ready to go. Ones that if you said, can you come on a Sunday? Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Ones that if you asked where the sugar was, not only would they tell you what aisle, they would walk you through to the aisle, say, do you want white or do you prefer brown sugar? Like they're giving that extra effort. Not that they need to, they're getting paid the same. But why is there a difference between people? Who wants to be extraordinary and who just wants to be ordinary? So I approached my dad, I miss that. Let's have some sort of incentive for those employees that just do the minimum. Let's give them a little bit of a raise, maybe do a competition, maybe do a contest, right? Maybe they would give out, be better, right? And my dad turns to me and goes, you can't get a horse out of a donkey. I said, what? He goes, you can't get a horse out of a donkey. I go, what does that mean? I heard you the first time. He goes, a donkey is a donkey and a horse is a horse. You're never going to change. If you're a thoroughbred, if you're a horse, if you're extraordinary, that's what you're going to be. But if you're not, if you're just a donkey, then that's what you're always going to be. Now, as a speaker and as a coach, can I accept that? Can I accept the fact that you will always be what you've always been? Is that what do you guys believe that? No. Because that's my dad's opinion. We can change, right? We should be able to change. But then why don't we? Why don't we be better than what we are? Is it because we don't have strong enough goals? Do they not inspire you? Do they not push you? Is it that talk in your head? Is it too negative for you? What is it? Right? So what I found is over the years in coaching people, talking to people, I found out that people do change. but it needs to be a traumatic experience. Is when you get true change. For example, having a heart attack. You get a heart attack. Hey, that's going to change your diet. Your diet, that fear is going to help you change what you need to do. You got to start exercising because you just had a heart attack. You have to change something. You can't be always doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. What's that? That's the definition of something. What is it? Anybody know?
Insanity.
That's right. That's the definition of insanity. Look it up in the dictionary. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's insane. So you need to change, right? Do we wait until we're almost at bankruptcy before we start to actually come to the office, make some calls, and start selling? We wait for that? We wait for our Visa bill to hit the limit before, like, I should maybe make a sale and pay that off. See, that's traumatic. That will change you. But you guys are here not to get to that point, right? You guys are here to see how do we change our mindset? How do we change what we're saying to ourselves so that we don't have to wait for that traumatic experience? And really, the best way to do it is to have a very strong why. Have a powerful why that inspires you. So Tom Ferry talks about this a lot. At the beginning of the year, you need to have 3 goals. So write this down for homework. Write this down. I want you to write down 3 absolutely must-have goals. Something that inspires you so much that you are excited. Now, when you get up in the day, you look at that goal and you're like, I want to achieve that. I want this. Right? So 3. Write down 3 goals. Now, aside from those 3 goals, we need some other elements to it. It can't be just the goals. So I want you to write down 5 things that you need to let go so that you can achieve those goals. What do you have to let go? Do you have to let go of past behaviors? Do you have to let go of the people that you surround yourself with? Right? Do you have to let go of the talk in your head? Do you have to let go of watching TV just before going to bed? Because that sucks. That blue screen sucks. Should you start watching more inspiring things? Should you start listening to podcasts? Should you be reading better books? Anyone read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck? Okay, highly recommended. Mindset, powerful, powerful stuff. Right? It talks about having a growth mindset versus having a fixed mindset. Right?
Carol.
Dweck, D-W-E-C-K.
Would you mind writing the name of the book?
Mindset, just called Mindset. Mindset. Next thing is write down 5 things that you want to attract in your life. What are the 5 things that you really want to come to you? You're attracted. You guys ever watched that TV, not TV, it was a movie, The Secret. It talks about, law of attraction, right? Something similar to that. Not so in depth, but what are the 5 things that you want to attract in your life? And then the last thing I want you to do is write down 5 things that you are absolutely grateful for in this world. And this is important because this is going to help you change your mindset. When you start thinking, starting the day with thinking of all the wonderful things in your life, that's a start. When you start talking about my health, my family, my friends, my career, my community, my home, you start thinking, and more importantly, writing that down, what you're grateful for in your world, that's going to help set up your mindset. That's going to put you in a better space than the fear. You guys get that? Yep. Right? So the plan here is to write this information, especially the gratitude stuff, and your 3 goals. Write that out each and every day. So let me ask you, if you did this, what would your mindset be like now? Would it be negative or would it be more powerful?
More powerful.
Yeah, because now you're focusing on what's good in your world. You're focusing on what you want in your world. You're focusing on what you want to attract, and you're letting go.
Any special time you recommend writing this out?
Well, that's a very good question. Ideally, what you want to do is start the day like this, right? Start the day like this, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing it more than just once, right? Especially the grateful part. Like writing it out in the daytime, as soon as you get into the office, as soon as you wake up, you take a moment, you visualize, you get yourself prepared for the day, and you write this out in a little journal. Keep it, why not? But there's gonna be times in your day where you're stressed out. Deal's going sideways, right? Take a moment, take those 5 minutes, close your eyes, and visualize what it is that you're grateful for in this world. Right? Visualize that this is a bigger than a one moment. It's bigger than one deal. Right? Life goes on. So if you focus on your why, focus on what's important to you throughout the day, have that in your head, you're pushing out all the negative thoughts and you're putting positive thoughts. So that's the number one challenge. You guys got that? Number one challenge. That's a pretty good challenge. Number two. Challenge number two. So the first challenge, I know you came in late, was mindset and goals. Mindset and goals. Challenge number one for realtors. Challenge number two for realtors would be planning and organizing. Right? Planning and organizing. There's so much stuff to do as a realtor. You need to kind of organize your day and plan your day. So here's the thing. This is your goal. This is where you want to go. This is where we want to achieve. This is where we're heading to. But that's what you're doing. You're not in the same line, are you? You guys are not aligned. So the key here is you're not going to be here right away. This exercise of goal setting, that's not going to get you there. However, if you do little things, fixing what you're doing now, eventually it becomes habit, and eventually they align. Eventually, your goals and your actions will align. And this is important. So how do we get there? How do we focus on getting our actions to align with our goal? So it's the schedule. Who here has a strict schedule? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's common. It's tough, right, guys? It's tough sticking to a schedule as a realtor. We get this. We understand this. So that being said, one of the things that's been working really, really well with our coaching clients is creating a simple to-do list. That's it. Do simple to-do list. So it's like an action list, a daily action list. So you put it together. This is what I need to accomplish. But what goes in that daily action list? And I'm not talking about mundane stuff like putting a CMA together or printing up a feature sheet. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about daily action steps that you should be doing each and every day. Right? Money-making activities, right? So let me ask you. I'm going to ask you that because this is fun. This is going to be like a little kind of town hall meeting. What sort of money-making activity should be in this list? What would be considered a money-making activity? Any thoughts, ideas? Okay, so we talk about prospecting, because that's a very common word. Are we digging for gold or not make decisions here? No, what are we talking about prospecting? Is it I'm following up on a lead, because that's like prospecting, right? Are you just having a conversation with someone about buying or selling a home? Or are you setting a specific time and you're making some calls or you're door knocking or you're doing an open house? Open house is prospecting as well, right? So let's be more specific about this prospecting because it's thrown out there a lot, right? What were you thinking? Okay.
So calling out your sphere of influence?
Okay, so calling your database. I like that. What are you thinking? Same idea?
No, I am actually out there talking to people.
So you're like meeting with people and having conversations with people. Okay, I love it. What else should we?
Working on social media.
Working on social media. Interesting. Interesting. We'll get to that in a second. So you think that would be a money-making activity? Okay, good. Anybody else? Anything else? Showings. So like appointments. Buying showings, negotiating offers, listing presentation, money-making activities, right, guys? Right. So I wrote this down. You mind writing it down? I wrote down 4 money-making activities. Number 1, practicing your scripts and dialogues. Practicing scripts and dialogues. Now, why are scripts and dialogues important? Why do we need to actually know them? Right? As a realtor, your job is what? Talking to a client. Okay, talking to a client. So in essence, your job is you're the middle person. You got a buyer, you got a seller, and you're putting them together, right? That's what it is. Buyer, seller, together. That's what we're doing. So the better you are at asking questions, the better you are at pacing and leading a conversation to get the buyer to put on an offer, the better you are at presenting yourself in front of a seller and getting a listing. Would that make you more money? So that's why practicing scripts and dialogues is a money-making activity. Because the better you are at handling objections, the more appointments you're going to get. The better you are at listing presentation, the more listings you get. The better you are at price reduction, getting the client to sign here, the more deals you make, the more money you make. So it's a money-making activity. Practicing scripts and dialogues. Who here takes 15, 20 minutes every day and does that? Okay, so throw that down. This is a good idea. If you're having problems, if you're an agent who is always being said no to, not able to close, right? Kind of getting frustrated with the clients, fearful of getting on the phones. Who here has a bit of a fear on the phones? Be honest, okay? And all fear is the unknown. It's just the unknown. That's all it is. It's because you're not sure where to go next with this, right? If you had a powerful listing presentation that you're so excited to share with everybody, would you not want to get on the phone to talk to people so you can get in front of them and show this? Yeah, it's the unknown, right? It's that fear of unknown. But once you've gone through it, talked to some people, had a conversation, went, did a presentation, got the listing, put it on the MLS, got it sold, and you see how simple that can actually be. Would you want to do more of it? Yeah, because you have to go through the behavior, correct? If you haven't been through that process, then in the back of your mind, you're always going to have that fear. So all that is simply the unknown, and then you'll get over that. The next thing I wrote down for money-making activity is generating leads. Generating leads. Now that sits on prospecting, that sits on open houses, that sits on social media, that sits on it covers all that. A lead is a lead is a lead, correct guys? It doesn't matter whether you made it through a phone call, whether it came to you from a referral, from an online lead, from a sign call, from a walk-in, it doesn't matter, a lead's a lead's a lead. But generating leads and having a system in place to generate leads consistently. The next thing I wrote down is following up on leads. Because you can funnel as many leads as you want, and you can get tons of leads. But if you don't have a system in place to process them out, they have to go somewhere. They can't just sit on your desk. So who here has a problem with following up leads? Yeah, that's common. Like, there has to be a system to process them out. If you don't have a system in place, what are they going to do? They're going to just pile up. You just have a whole bunch of leads, right? And then eventually over time, because you haven't taken care of those leads, they become what? Useless. Absolutely useless, right? Actually, they become a lot more negative than you think. Because if you're collecting leads, you have this psychological thought that, hey, listen, I got all these leads. But really what you have is nothing. It's useless. But psychologically, you're thinking you have a business because you have a pile of leads. Unless you process them out, you have nothing. Because your lead is also my lead. And it's also his lead and her lead, right? You don't know. And that's where it's dangerous, holding on to leads. You've got to process them out. You have to have a system in getting them out, right? Next one I wrote, the last one, was money-making activity, going on appointments. Simple. Listings, buyer appointments, showings. Now there's the difference, right? Buyer appointment is when you sit down with the buyer and you walk through the process that's involved in buying a house and you sign them up to a buyer agency agreement. That's a buyer appointment. And then you have showings. Those are showings when you go out there and meeting clients and showing them houses. And of course, you have price reductions and you have offers. So that's all money-making activity. So if you put that down, right, what should be the first things you should be doing in your checklist? Would be these four. If you're looking at these four, which ones can I work on? Do I need to get a price reduction on this property? Do I need to spend some time on my database and talk to people that I know and generate some new leads? Do I need to process my follow-up of? process my leads out. So that's how you would set up your day. It's a lot easier than saying, I'm gonna be at the office at 7:30 in the morning. I'm gonna be at the office at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get on the phones at this time. Does that work for you guys? No, because we don't stick. So if you stick to a simple checklist and just cross things out, right? A next thing that really works out is the do, doing, and done board. So write that down. Do, D-O. So you're gonna have a board, real simple. You're gonna have things to do, things that you are doing, and then done board. If you wanna process things out, we all have projects that we're working on, right? We all have these things that we wanna do. Like, for example, if you're not working on social media, that might be something that's interests you. It's to generate some leads from social media, right? So you would simply get a yellow note tag, right? Social media, put it here on the do list, right? If you're gonna put together a new listing package or a buyer package, right? Again, you put it on the do. This is all stuff that I wanna do. You have a whole list of stuff you wanna do, right? Then afterwards, as you're processing, you take 1 or 2 or 3 max and put it on this side. Okay, now I'm working on this. This is a project that I need to work on. I'm working on building a new lead source. I'm working on my listing presentation. I'm working on a specific offer, whatever the case may be. And then what you end up doing is once you complete that, you have a great listing package. Love it, fantastic, great, now you move to done. Why do we put it there? It's a sense of accomplishment. This is what you've done, this is what you created, and this just keeps your life simple. So when you're organizing yourself as a realtor, this do, doing, and done board is extremely powerful. And then the last thing you wanna have is a lead board. A lead board. And in the lead board, you have 4 things. You have seller leads, buyer leads, listings, and pendings. And you create a board, like a whiteboard, and have that, and it's a visual for yourself all the time. Again, we're not hiding things anymore. We're putting things in front of ourselves. So we know what we have to do, doing, and done, and then we know we have our lead boards.
What was it again?
It's seller leads, buyer leads, our listings, our current listings that we have in the contract, and any sort of pendings, so sold conditionally. You don't need to keep the ones that closed, you just want to see what's on. So again, this is just something for you in your office to keep yourself organized. All right, any questions regarding planning and organizing? Pretty simple, right guys? All right, challenge number 3. This is going fast. I think it's gonna be a half-hour class. All right, challenge number 3. Lead generation and marketing systems. Lead generation and marketing systems. So the difference between the Tom Ferry company and all the other training companies is that we honestly believe that a lead is a lead and there's no wrong way of generating a lead. All right? If you want to go and have coffee time, espresso, you're going to go have an espresso, you talk to someone and generate a lead, you have a conversation with them, why not? Why not? If you're going to take someone out for lunch and you're talking to them about real estate and they tell you, oh, my cousin's thinking of buying, and you get a lead that way, why not? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with open houses? Who here does open houses? Yeah. You know what? That open houses is one of the top lead generating ways to generate lead. It is. Now,
It's very passive.
very passive, but let me make it a little more active for you. Can I do that?
Sure.
All right. So we teach something called a mega open house. Right? Concept between a traditional open house is you're going to go sit there for 2 hours, right, and get the general public to come in, preview the property, and you're hoping to stimulate something with a buyer. Does that sound about right? Right. We want you to take that same time and do it both for a seller and a buyer. Get a seller lead and a buyer lead. So the way we do it, the way we show you how to do it, is you put together some invitations. And a few days before the actual open house, is you're gonna go and hand deliver these to all the different neighbors, right? 100, 200, whatever you want. And you're on the postcard, on one side, it's an invitation for wine and cheese or a little luncheon. It's a celebration of your neighbor who's moving, So we're gonna have a little party for your neighbor. They're leaving, so you want you to show up between 11:30 and 1:30. Okay, you're gonna come, you have some wine and cheese, you have some food, and then on the other side, you got all the details regarding the listing, and make sure you put the price. So you put the price, so you hand out 100, 200 of these the week before the actual open house. So when you show up there, you have a kind of get together with all the neighbors, and there's your client introducing you now to all the neighbors. Say, hey, this is my agent. Hi, this is my agent. Hi, this is my agent. And what do people want to talk about when they're all there?
That's my housework.
What's happening in the market? What's going on, right? So it's just you and the neighbors, not the general public. The general public doesn't show up until 2 o'clock. So the general public for an open house is 2 to 4. But as a private invitation, I'm bringing in the neighbors and having a little kind of powwow with them. And then at 1:30, I kick everybody else, including the owners, right? Now I have to get prepared for the actual open house. See, this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This is taking it to another level. It's called a mega open house because we're focusing not only on a buyer lead, we're also focusing on a seller lead. Make sense?
A mega.
Yeah.
Mega open house.
MDGA.
That's right, mega open house.
So when you're having your neighbors over, are you also doing what you would typically do in your open house where they would have a feature sheet, they would walk around the whole house?
And what
or-
you want to do is get an iPad. You get the open house app where they can just fill it in. It's a lot better than just signing things out. Just give open house app, they fill it out. Have a hook. What I mean by that is if they'd like to get some more information, what's happening in the markets, what's happening in the area, always have that kind of piece of information. If you're interested in this, if you don't want to, no problem. Don't have to sign it. It's good. But if you'd like to get some more information, what's happening in the marketplace, fill it in, and I'll send it to you, email it to you, whatever. And that's what you want to do. You want to set that up. So that's what we call a mega open house, right? Again, we're talking about lead sources and how to make them better, how to generate. So my question to you, what does your lead generation system looks like? You can only answer for yourself, you don't have to say it out loud. Like, where are you generating your leads from? Do you have 1 source? Is it 2 sources? Is it 3 sources? I get a lot of blank looks here. It's kind of scary. You guys are like, what do you mean generate leads? You guys have to be able to generate leads from somewhere, right? Is it open houses? Is it your database? Is it your past clients? Referrals can be from a realtor or it can be from people that you know, right? So where are your lead sources? So to have a strong business, you need to have 4 to 6 different lead sources, real important. Most agents work on 1 to 2. Problematic, you see? If you're not getting enough leads, how are you gonna get enough business? Right, so real important. So an example of a poor lead system would be an agent that is constantly trying new things and nothing ever sticks with them. And that's a problem. It doesn't matter what coaching program you may be following or whatever system you're thinking of, Buffini, Craig Proctor, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, they're all different, right? It doesn't matter. But what you want to do is stay consistent with one. Because if you're just going to go dabble here and dabble there and dabble there, you're never sticking to anything, right? And that's a problem. That's not consistency. If you're waiting for business to come to you, that's a poor lead generating system. I'm telling you right now, right? It's poor, right? If you're just going to wait for leads to come to you, that's problematic. That's not a strong system. Or if you do nothing with your past clients and center of influence, if you don't do a farm area, if you're not doing anything online, and you don't want to prospect, yeah, that's going to be a poor lead system. You guys are in the business for what? Why are you in real estate?
Money.
Okay, to make money, right? You guys just want to make a living, or do you want to make some serious money?
Serious money.
Okay, so what does that take? It takes some hard work. And it takes, as a salesperson, talking to people. If you're afraid to talk to people, you are in the wrong business. You guys are all salespeople. You have to speak to people. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you're not having conversations with people about the idea of buying or selling real estate, right, then you don't have a business. This is important because a lot of times we get up in the morning, we come to the office, we take our papers, bring it over to this side of the desk, and look around. Those papers, put this side of the desk, look around some more. Right? Lunchtime. Then you come back, 3 o'clock, right? Then you move this over to that side. All right, I'm out of here. And you go home. And that was your day. And don't laugh because that was your day. That has happened to everyone here, correct? Where you've walked into the office and done this, right? Absolutely nothing. So understand that if you're not having daily conversations with people about the idea of buying and selling real estate, right? You're in the wrong business. You should be working at something where you don't have to talk to people, right? So I'm being very clear. So what does your system look like? A strong system, a strong lead generating system would have 6 or more lead sources. We're talking about a good, powerful one. 6 or more lead sources. You're going to have a rocking marketing plan for your past clients and your sphere. This is people that know you and respect you. You guys should be tackling them. Who here is asking business for people that they know? Yeah, and the rest of you are not, right? I'll tell you why. Because 50% of you absolutely love it. You love talking to people who you know, friends, family, neighbors, and you have no problems asking for business from them. But 50% of you absolutely hate it. You feel like I'm asking for business. You feel like you're begging. And this is true. This is how it is. Like, that's me. I feel like I'm begging. Because it's just human nature. But the truth is, those agents that work their database have a continuous stream of business coming into them. 1 year, they'll do 20 deals. The next year, maybe 23 deals. And the next year, 25, maybe 30, maybe 40. But any agent that doesn't work the database, they may pull off 20 deals 1 year, but then the following year, they're at 14. Then they'll go back up to like 18, and come back down to 13, right? Maybe go back up to 21, and then come back down to like 10. Because they're all over the place. They're working harder sources. But if you work your database, and this is key, if you work your database and have conversations. So, hang-ups. I'm going to talk about that for a second. Hang-ups. What would be a hang-up for not calling your database? Any thoughts? Hang-up. Why would you not want to call your database? I mentioned already, feeling like you're begging for business. What will be another one?
Fear.
Fear. Now tell them about fear. Is it fear of begging for business or fear that they're too busy? Fear that you haven't spoken to them in a long time?
Fear that, yeah. So you haven't spoken, that happens to me all the time. It's like, I don't want to call. I haven't talked to you in like 2 years. And now I'm going to call and say, oh, hey, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. Do you want to sell your house?
Who here has had that? Who here has sold a home like 8 years ago and never called them, right? And you're like, whoa, what if I called them now? Well, what if you called them now? You think they were waiting for you by the phone for 8 years? No. It's the same with them. You could turn around and say to them, you've never called me. Okay? It's been 8 years. How come you never called me? The truth is, everyone is in their own little lives, their own little world. Right? They're not thinking of you. They're really not. They respect you. They'll probably use you again, but they're not thinking of you. Right? The fear that you have manifested is exactly that. You have manifested that in your head. Right? The conversation that you're having in your head is what's stopping you from making those calls. Right? Now, what if you change that psychology a little bit and put it in your head that you are the real estate resource for those past clients, for those fear. You put it in your head that all you want to do is serve. I'm not calling asking for business. No, I'm not. I'm calling to see how can I help you. Do you have a question regarding today's market? Do you have a question regarding the value of your home? See, if you align yourself as being the information person, the source that anyone that you know, friend, family, neighbor, past client, dentist, doctor, guy who changed your tires, if you make yourself that resource for them, how easy would it be now making that call? Where all you have to say to them is, hey, listen, do you have any questions regarding real estate? I'm not asking for business. I'm just asking, do you have any questions regarding real estate? Do you have any concerns regarding the market?
Favor for them.
You're being a resource.
Yeah.
And you always finish off by saying, hey, listen, If you ever have any questions, concerns regarding the real estate market in general, real estate in general, I'm always here to help you out.
I have done that, but actually it was yesterday. The person that I was giving information during this year, he was with another agent downstairs. So like, you
And
know,
that's simply because
because
you haven't brought that forth to them early enough. Does that make sense?
no, because he told me that he doesn't have money right now, so that's why I didn't push him. So I said, okay,
Okay.
whenever you're ready. So like I was assuming after.
Was he
giving
like a
up-
friend of yours?
Yeah, like not that close. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it's not uncommon people know other people in real estate, right, guys?
Next.
It's timing.
Right?
No, that's what my mindset on that is next.
And I like that. That's
I
a
feel
great
like
answer.
everything's going normal, next.
Move on, right? Now, I'm gonna share a story with you. I have family members that don't buy with me and don't sell with me. And it's not like I have other family members that they can use. They'll use complete strangers before they would use me. And it's simply because they have no interest in letting me know what their business is like. They don't want me to know what their mortgage is at, where they're at financially, where they're at in their life. So there's gonna be family members and friends that will never use you, but they love you and they respect you, yet they'll still refer you other business if you ask. They
What
just
if
won't
they
use
use
themselves.
you, how much lower commission are you gonna give it? Are you gonna give me a break on the commission because I'm using you over family?
So it sounds like you've had some past experience with
I've
family.
been around the block.
Yeah. So understand that there's nothing wrong with asking people or being that resource for them, even though they personally may not use you, because they may still refer you to someone else, right? I want you to understand that that's still a lead source. They still will know of at least 2 to 3 people this year that needs a realtor. Because
So how do you think about setting up a referral network to the past clients, or let's say after a while, after 2 months, 3 months, when we have the transaction with the person? So we let them know that, okay, we have a referral program. If you refer someone to us, there will be, I don't know, I haven't thought about what we can give them in return.
Okay.
But do you think it's a good idea to put something for, referral program, just to reward?
And that's a great question. So the question is, should we entice our database and send you referral by giving them something? Giving them some monetary value or sending him to Disney World, whatever the case may be. Okay? The thought on that is it's up to you. And honestly, whether it makes more sense or less sense is irrelevant, right? We know we have people that they'll put together a once a year party for all their past clients, all their database. Invite them to watch a movie, for example, and they all come in, right? So they'll have some coffee, they'll have some popcorn and pop, and then they'll give out prizes like an iPad or speakers or something, right? Or an Apple Watch. And I've seen people do that. What they do is anytime someone sends a referral, their name goes into like a little basket, so that when you're there, you pull it out and now you can win this. And then the grand prize is like a trip to Vegas, right? Same idea, same concept,
Yeah.
right? And that's worked. Does it make them send you more business than not? I don't have the data on that. I really couldn't tell you that if you do this for sure, you're gonna get that.
But it could be healthy.
It wouldn't hurt, right? But what I can tell you is this. If you have 200 people in your database, as an example, and you work your database correctly, and I'm gonna share with you a plan of action how to work it, you'll get a 10% return on that. Meaning, 200 people in your database, and you follow the plan, you're gonna get 20 deals for them. You got 100 people in your database, you work the plan, you get 10 deals out of them. You get 300 names in your database, you work the plan, you get 30 deals. It's 10% each and every year. Now, who's interested in doing that? Right? And this is an example. See, when you have a lead source, you need to have a plan of action for every single lead source. Remember I shared with you what to do with an open house? Right? Open house, that's a plan of action. Printing off the postcards, inviting the people, having them come in. Like that's a plan of action for working a mega open house. So a plan of action for working your database, you can write this down, there's only a 6-point plan, and I got this from Rob Vivian because it's outstanding, it really works really well. So step number one is put a list together of every single person you know. Friend, family, neighbor, just put everybody together, right? And then what we want to do is once we have this list, and I like to use Excel. Excel is really simple to do. So you just simply make the list and go down and call it master list. And then what you want to do is you want to divide that list by 11. Why 11? Well, part of the process is contacting your database on a quarterly basis. So once a quarter, you have a conversation with them. There's 13 weeks in a quarter, so we figure you call all of them in the first 11 weeks and you take 2 weeks off, right? Or you mess up a week number 5, or week number 6, you still got a buffer there before it ends. So the idea behind this is to contact your database 4 times a year. So step 2 is divide it into 11 equal pieces. So you would take the master list in Excel, right? And if it's 200 names, that means 18 names. I copy and paste and put into another tab. Call it week 1. Call that tab week 1. And then I would take the next 18 names, copy and paste, into the next tab. Call it week 2. And then the next 18 names, next tab, week 3. So keep going until you got 11 weeks and the master list. Make sense, guys? Then you simply print off those 11 tabs, staple them together, and you've got your list. You got your list. All 200 names divided into 11 sheets of paper with 18 names on each page. Okay? Step 3, simply call that list. And what are we going to say to them? Hey, give me questions regarding real estate. Simply call them up. Hey, give me questions regarding real estate. Right? And they may say no, and say, okay, then open them up a little bit. Right? I know the market's changed, right? Are you guys interested in finding out what the value of your home is in today's market? Just talk to them.
So when you say contacted, it means only having conversation face-to-face or over the phone, not email.
No, and I'll get to that in a second. Right? Because email is great when you do want to speak to them. Okay? You want to hear their voice. You want to see their face. You want to get out there. Okay? Real important. That's really important. Because an email, you send me an email, you can send me 50 emails. Delete. Like it's not there. You know, it's not tangible. But when I call you and I say, hey, listen, do you have any questions regarding real estate? Because I really want to help you. What's the tone now? Right? So you're contacting them. That's step 3, contact. Step 4, real important. At the end of the week, for those people you have not reached, I want you to simply leave a message. Right? Leave a message again. So like if I'm calling my list and there's 18 names and I go down the list, I call you Monday, I'll call Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I get to Friday. I'm not working Saturday, I'm off. So Friday, I've reached 12 people in total over the week. I got 6 more people. So I'm not gonna carry them over to the following week. That'd be problematic. So what I'm gonna simply do is leave a message and say, hey, it's Dan Macedo with Roll the Page. It's nothing urgent, just want to talk to you about real estate. If you have any questions, just give me a call. I'm glad to answer them. Well, and 416 and give me a number, right? And that's it. Simple. Keep it simple. And then you don't have to call them again until the following quarter when their name comes up again. Okay? Step 5. I want you to mail something of value to these clients. Not email. Mail. Stamp, envelope, something of value. Now, if you go to the RLP network, you can print off a newsletter that they do every month, right? So you want to send them something of value on a monthly basis. You could send, if your budget doesn't feed you, monthly's too much, then try every 2 months, right? Clear Communication is a wonderful publication. It's $1.50 each. They mail it out and everything, and they send it every 2 months.
When you don't, your database is, let's say, past colleagues and stuff, and you don't really have their personal information. You have their work information, their work email address, their work address. Is it of value to send it to their work?
Yes, and I'm actually going to cover that once I give you the last point. Okay, but it's a great question. If I forget it, remind me again. Right, excellent question. So step 5 is you're mailing them something of value. If 2 months doesn't work for you, then try a budget once a quarter. At least minimum once a quarter. Ideally, once a month. That works the best, right? And step 6, last point.
So for this system, should be under their name, their full name for each person.
Yes.
Let's say this is a newsletter under
Tom, right? And, Bill, Maria, whatever. You send them a newsletter. Right now, if you want a cover letter to it, that's where you put their name. If you don't put a cover, you just put an envelope, that's a different story. Ideally, you want it to accompany a cover letter, right? Say, hey, this is a great newsletter. We're talking about this, and that. Anyone here done Buffini? Really? No one did Buffini? Okay, so he does an awesome letter too. Buffini does a great letter, puts a cover letter to it and this is important because now what's going to happen is the client gets your envelope. They open it up. It's something of value. It's not talking about I'm number one. It's not talking about this one listing I have. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about something of value for the customer, right? Maybe how to weatherproof a shed, or maybe it's to insulation, whatever it is. Whatever appeals to the customer at the time, you want to put it in this newsletter, something of value. So when they see it, they open it, they'll read it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they just leave it on the counter, right? Then they have to take that and put it into the recycling bin. And they have to take the recycling bin from their house and bring it up to the garage. Then they got to take that recycling from the garage, take it out. So there's a good chance they might see it once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times. If you send an email, how quick do I delete it? Gone. Gone. And if it's really good value that it resonates with the clients, they'll hole punch it and put it into a binder. They'll keep it. Some of these people, I've seen some of my stuff for years that they've kept, right? Again, it's top of mind for them. It's value. You're being a resource for them. It doesn't cost you very much for this.
What about things like drip campaigns, things like contact on social media
Love it.
with different things you've seen on the marketplace?
Absolutely. And I'm going to touch upon that. I love that. And that's an add-on. Okay. What I'm giving you is the basics. Okay. I'm giving you the nuts and bolts of what minimum you need to do to get a 10% return. When you start adding in the emails once every 2 weeks, start putting good social content, like put on the YouTube, you create a nice video, 11 pitfalls to avoid when purchasing a home, right? 6 mistakes that every home seller makes before they sell their home. Like you do stuff like that, you do a video of you recording, hey folks, listen, watch this, watch that. You put a nice video together and you put that on YouTube, that's an add-on to you. And that you should tag that with your drip campaign emails once every 2 weeks. Again, add-on, right guys? This just brings you more value. You become that real estate resource now, big time. The last step, number 6, I want you to add 10 new names to your database each and every month. 10 new names. Now, why is this important? Remember I talked about anyone who has worked their database. Over the course of their career, each and every year, it's growing. Business grows. If you add 10 names to your database each and every month, and you have 200 today, a year from now, how many would you have? 320. That's right. You add another 120 to it, right? Because you're adding 10 names a month. So your database just went from 200 to 320. And if you follow the system, 10% return, you went from 20 deals to what? 32 deals from your database. And some of you are thinking, hey, how can I get 10% return? Right? I can attest to that. I can attest to the fact that's a low number. Most people are getting 15 to 20 if you follow this, but we use 10% because it's guaranteed each and every year. You talk to your clients, ask for business, right? Send them a newsletter every month. You're going to get that 10% return. It's exciting. It's powerful. Okay, so now going back to your question, which was?
Mailing it out to their place of business or email to their place
So
of
the
business.
very first time you call them, you don't just go right into what's your address, okay? You have this beautiful list, 200 names. So the very first thing you say to them is, and lay this on the office. It's fantastic. You would say, the script goes like this. Hi, it's Dan Macedo with World of Page. The reason for my call is my office is putting together a newsletter. It's like insider information of what's happening in the marketplace right now. And my broker approached me and asked me, who do I know that would be interested in this newsletter? And I was thinking of you, right? So I'm just curious, would you be interested in getting this free newsletter? Right? Now, if they say yes, that's where you would say, what would be the best mailing address I could send it to? If I needed to reach you during the daytime, I want to call you on your cell, what number would that be? And if I want to email you a really nice listing, one of our exclusive listings that we get in the office, right? What email address should I send it to? So now you get all their information. So the beauty about the system is you take that week and only have to figure out 18 names. You don't have to do all 200. And then the following week, you take the time and work those 18 names and make sure you fill in the gaps. You guys get that? You're filling in those gaps. Now, what happens when someone says to you, no, I'm not interested? Because you're going to get it, right? No. You never have to call them again. Ever. You take them out of your mind, you cross them off your list, and never have to worry about asking them for business ever again. Now your list goes from 200 to 160, 150, 140, but now you've got 140 people who are raving fans. That's 14 deals, guys. Right? You'd be top 1% in Toronto with 14 deals. Right? You guys understand that the psychology, the mindset that we have of calling people that we know, it's only a few bad apples that piss us off. They're like, I don't want to call them, so we don't call anybody because of a few people. This way, you're crossing them off. You don't have permission to take them off. They take themselves off. You guys get that? Does that work for you? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, now you asked about email. Okay? I love email. I think putting an email campaign together is brilliant, but bring it with value. Always to the client, value-based, content-based value for them. So what do? Like I described, you put together really cool videos of yourself, describing scenarios. Maybe it's a market watch of what's happening this quarter, right? And you put it together, put it on your website, put it on YouTube, wherever it has to be, and then on your email campaign, you have a little kind of PS. By the way, here's a video on this. And then there's a little picture, and then you have to click on it, and it sends you to that content. This is gonna help you with social media. Who here uses social media as, right? So when we talk about social media, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Facebook, right? LinkedIn. So what's primary for you?
So for me, is on Facebook, I have a business page and I use some stuff. Sometimes I use Facebook campaigns for generating leads.
Awesome. What for you? Instagram. Awesome. All right. So you do like a video, 20-minute video. Okay. Then you break it down to little segments for Facebook, maybe 2.5 minutes of that video with a link to that full video. And then on Instagram, you do the same thing. You break it down to 15 seconds. Really, really small. 15 seconds, really kind of like in their face kind of stuff. Click, 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 and then click on this if you want more. Yeah, the minute, but people have the minute on Instagram, like they're swiping up. 15 seconds is Instagram.
How do you break down a video?
You need an editing machine, editing program, sorry. iPro or something, you get an editing program, put the video through, and then you just kind of, you're cutting segments and put it together, put music back in the background. It's brilliant. And if you Google it or YouTube it, it'll teach you exactly what to do, what equipment you need. Everyone should be doing video right now. And it's huge. Huge, huge, huge. Something else on video. Oh yeah, so you're talking about Facebook in the back. You're try street text. Streettext.com.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right? They take care of everything for you. So you put in your postal code of what area you want to work. You work, you pay for it. $100 for 7 days. It's $400 for the month. But they only send you the leads in that particular area, and it's mostly listing leads. So mostly listings. So whatever area you work, whatever postal code you work, you put that in, and anyone in that area looking for a house on Facebook, because they follow each other, it goes through all different platforms, you're getting a lead. It's brilliant.
Sorry, when you're looking to buy a house, the majority of people would be working with an agent already, no?
Not necessarily, no. 97% of all buyers look on the internet first before they contact an agent. 97. Right? And Toronto, the GTA, is quite sophisticated. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 100%. I really wouldn't. Like even my mom is checking on the internet. She just got on Facebook. It's terrible. It's driving me nuts. Terrible. But anyways, everyone's on it. Facebook is never going to go away. It's a great lead source. I'd get rid on it. All right, that was a long one, please. Oh yeah, the next point I just want you guys to be very clear on is no matter what lead source you work, its priority is having a plan of action for it. right? And this is important. So have 4 to 5 lead sources, and then have a plan on how you're gonna work it, right? That's gonna help you build a strong business. All right, challenge number 4. Presentations and conversion skills. This is what we're talking about, scripts and dialogues. So my question to you is, how excited are you with your listing presentation? Do you absolutely love it? Can't you wait to show it to someone? Are you so excited to present it? Because I guarantee you, if you don't have one like that, where you can literally walk into into someone's home and not have any papers and go right through step by step by step by step what the process is of pacing and leading the client to a signature. That's a presentation, right? So what do we need to put in that presentation? How do we make our presentation powerful, right? And it's real simple. You need to take some time and sit down and really put it together. If you don't have one that that has a visual to it, I'm not saying you need a computer, not necessarily, but you should have some sort of component that's a visual. 25% of the people out there, they're very visual. So you want to appeal to them. You want something that has a little bit of analytics to it, numbers. Share the office numbers. You guys know what our market share is? Anybody know? It's like 9%. We're 16 offices, 1,600 agents, and like almost 9% market share in the GTA. Those are great numbers to use. Not your numbers, but it's the office. Roll the page your community, right? You got to use some analytics in your presentation. You also want to focus the presentation on what? On whom? Whom do you focus the presentation on? Them. That's right. Please, WIFM. What's in it for me? WIFM. That's the radio station that everyone listens to. What's in it for me? So understand that talking about the fact that you're number 1 salesperson in the office isn't going to cut it. Talking the fact that you're going to get their home sold and get them moved to Bradford and they're going to be there by June and the kids are going to have no problems getting to the school, that's where you make your presentation stronger. If you focus on them. So understand, listening presentation, focus on them, have some analyticals, and have a visual of some sort. Right? Asking questions and learning questions. Who here practices scripts and dialogue? I think I mentioned that. Right? Real important, download some. There, you can get them from tomferry.com, they're free. MikeFerry.com, they're free. Rob Vivian Coaching, they're free. Right? Bruce Keith, he'll be here next week, but he gives them all for free too. Bruce is a nice guy. Right? So there's lots of product out there. Now the key with learning scripts and dialogues, make it your own. Don't just use it verbatim. If you use it verbatim, right, it's not you, it's not the robot. So take the time to really ask. The purpose of the script is to follow a guide to get you to what? An appointment, right? It's basically get you to an appointment. So just follow that guide, right? Role play, right? Anyone here ever practice with another agent? Okay. So role playing is important because now you get to practice a positive scenario. Because when you're on the phone making calls, it's like no, 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 right? You're door knocking, no, 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 no. However, when you role play with another agent, you can role play a positive scenario. Yes, I set an appointment. This is how it feels like, right? And that's important, having that feel like. If I role play a positive scenario, then I will have a positive result when I actually do my calls. Last thing with respect to scripts and dialogues is when it comes to building rapport. When we build rapport, anyone know how to build rapport with someone that they've never ever met? What do you think they're thinking of?
Report of person, report of what, sorry?
Rapport. You know what rapport is? It's the building of trust with someone.
Wow.
So when you come and meet with someone for the very first time, how do you build that trust with them? Right? When you're on the phones and making the calls, how do you build that trust with them? The call? They don't know you.
First you have to show that what is in it for them.
I love it. See? Yeah.
Yeah.
Conversations based on them, right? If you want someone to be your best friend, just talk about them. Just ask questions about them, just talk about them. Don't say anything about you. Just ask about them, talk about them. They'll become your best friend, right?
Find out how do they like, talk about that.
Talk about that. Now, I want you to be very careful with using that kind of rapport building with your clients. Like when you go on a listing presentation, and you see that, you know, they have golf clubs in the corner, and you're thinking, I play golf, right? Should we talk about golf? No, you're not there for golf, you're there to sell their house, right? So there is a difference between personal rapport and business rapport. So the key with business rapport is you talk about what their plans are. Okay? Where are you planning to move to next? When would you like to be there? Why is it that you're moving there? So it's the where, when, and why. Okay? Where, when, and why. That's how you build business rapport. If you get that business rapport, right, you don't have to worry about the fact that you like to play tennis and so what. Because that's not going to work for them. Because they're going to look at you at a different level. They want to see you as a professional. So don't build personal rapport. Now, I'm at a party and I want to get to know people and I want to be that, you know, yes, personal rapport, without question. But we're talking about business here, right? When you're having a conversation with someone over the phone, this is important. Let's say I ask you a question. When you sell this home, where do you think of moving to next?
I'm thinking of moving to Vancouver.
Okay, so listen to this. When you're answering them back, please do not go into the very next question, like when would you like to be there? Even though I'm very polite and I'm asking you this an important question, I need you to understand that there is a way to ask a question to help you build rapport on the phone. So as soon as you have that answer, I'm moving to Vancouver, I want you to repeat that answer.
Oh,
Give them
wow,
approval.
you're moving to Vancouver, that's exciting.
Yeah, so you move to Vancouver, that's awesome. And when would you like to be there? Is that, like, if you think of the way you talk to your friends, that's how you talk with your friends. Hey, listen, I'm buying a new car. You buying a new car? What kind of car are you getting? I'm getting a red car. You're getting a red car? No way, what's the make? And that's normal conversation when you talk with your friends, right? So you have to understand that when you're talking to complete strangers, please don't make it like you're rifling them off some questions. Hey, it's not a survey, it's not an interrogation. Understand? There is a way of asking questions, and the best way to soften it is repeat, give them approval, and then move on to the next question. Okay, they want that repeat and approval. Now, when you're handling objections, who knows how to handle an objection? Who gets an objection? Okay, so let me share with you a technique to handle any objection you're ever going to get. It's a technique. So the first thing, whenever you get an objection, throw me an objection. You don't know, right?
The house is too much money.
That's an objection? The house is too much money? My
That's a
commission,
buy-
how was my
that's a buying
commission called the buyer? The house is too much money.
How much do you charge?
How much do you charge?
Why
Right.
you knocked on my house?
Why are you calling me?
Yeah.
What are you bugging me for, right? Good ones, right? So understand that all an objection is a question in the mind of the buyer or the seller. That's all that is. And the proper way to answer or to respond to an objection is not to create a debate. It's not to go into the answer immediately. If someone says to you, hey, listen, what's your commission? Or why is that home so expensive, right? You're not gonna start answering them right away, even though it's human nature, that's what you wanna do, right? What you need to do is align yourself with the client. So what you wanna do is repeat what they said. So write this down, repeat. Repeat, approve. Repeat, approve, and build a bridge. Again, I was taking this from Rob Vivian. It's awesome. So repeat, approve, and build a bridge. What does that mean? So you repeat what they say. So you think that the house is too expensive. You give them approval. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And thank you for being upfront and being observant of that. Right? So now are we battling?
No.
No, I'm giving you approval. I am telling you that question makes sense. I'm giving you that you're just deserved. Like, this is perfect. Thank you for sharing this with me. And then the build a bridge part is simply you asking for permission to handle that objection. That's all that is. So you align yourself now with the client, And then you can go into a clever handler. So I would say, you know what, thank you for sharing that with me. I do appreciate you bringing that up, right? May I share something with you? See, that's the permission part. May I share something with you, right? The home is priced in accordance to what is selling for in the neighborhood. This home has added in some granite countertops and an in-ground pool. Therefore, it might be $25,000, $30,000 more than what everyone else is selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you see where I go with that? But the repeat, approve, and build a bridge helps you handle that objection. It's the technique. And you can handle this with anything, any objection at all. So you know how sometimes they kind of catch you off guard? They just throw something at you, like, whoa, where did that come from? And you kind of think about, how am I going to answer that? So you go right into that technique. Okay, let me repeat what he's saying. Let me give him approval. Let me kind of say, you know, the build a bridge part can be, may I share something with you? Can I ask you a question? There isn't a whole lot that you would use. But those two statements is what you would use. Can I ask you a question or may I share something with you? That's pretty much it. And then you would go into, hopefully your brain is caught up and you become a clever handler at that point.
So even the cold calling or door knocking.
Yeah, let's do cold calling with it. What's an objection?
Why are you calling?
Well, you know, that's a great question. I'm calling you kind of early, right?
No, I'm not interested. Don't call me anymore.
So you're not interested in, you don't want me to call you no more. No problem, have yourself a good day.
You know what? And that's the smart way, because you don't want to deal with those people. They waste your time.
No,
Why would
I'm
you
going
go?
to share with you this.
That's
What you're bringing up is very common, right? Do I want to get into a debate with that? No, but if you're a client of mine, like put me now as a client, you're a client of mine, and I'm giving you a call, and you have a legitimate question about something. You know, like why is the commission so high? Why do I have to pay this much? Like those are legit, right? But if I call someone that I have no idea, they have no interest, they have no desire, I'm not gonna waste much time, right? I'll be nice, you know, bro, have some great day, bye. I move on.
It's funny, I did cold calling the other day. My husband said, how many people hung up on you? And I think once they hear Royal LePage and your friendliness on the phone, I had no hangups. I had no one be rude or nothing. It was kind of a pretty good experience.
Cold calling, I don't like. I don't like cold calling. I think you need to call with purpose. I think you need to have conversation with purpose. If you're just gonna pick up a street and call up and down that street, there's a product out there that's way better than that. It's called Sly Broadcasting. Is here Sly, S-L-Y, Broadcasting. It's fantastic. All it does is you pick up the phone, you leave a message. Hey, it's Dan Macedo with Royal LePage. I'm sorry I missed you, right? I have a young couple looking to buy a home in your neighborhood. If you are interested in selling your home, please give me a call. My number is blank, right? Or if you have any questions regarding real estate, because the market has changed, give me a call as well. And what it does is you select the neighborhood that you want to send this message to. And what the company does is it puts it into their voicemail. No ringing, the phone never rings, it goes right into their phone. So when they come home, they there's a message, and there you are. And you can send it to 100 people, 200, 1,000, 3,000, doesn't matter. And send it to the Y. S-L-Y, Sly Broadcasting. It's fantastic. So if you wanted to do that kind of prospecting, where I'm calling a specific neighborhood, now what you're doing is you just broadcast 200 calls. You didn't call anybody, but now you have your phone ready to go whenever someone calls you back now. So the people who are going to call you are the ones that actually have an interest.
Have you tried this?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
What is the return?
Return on it, you know, be very careful, because the first time we did 300, and then just the phone kept on ringing. So I would say start with 100 people, and then work your way. See, it all depends on the area. Yeah, so there's different ways of generating leads. Hey guys, like I'm not.
So you don't do just listed, just sold calls?
Just no, we're beyond that. If I want to do it just as just sold, I'll send out a broadcast like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I did it for the just sold, so I called the area that I had just
There's
sold
nothing
in.
wrong with it. I
It
mean,
took a long
just as
time.
just sold takes forever. If you have Mojo, anyone here use a dialer, an automatic dialer? So Mojo allows you to dial 3 numbers at a time. So when you're calling a just listed or just sold in a specific area, that's fantastic, because you can pump up and hit 30 contacts in an hour. I just did, 300 in a minute.
But you didn't speak to anyone.
I did not, but anyone who's serious is not gonna call me. And that's the difference.
Then it's coming back to your definition of a lead. I mean, is your definition of a lead gonna be someone who's gonna move in 3 months, 6 months, a year?
Okay, that's a very good question. So
You're not gonna
you can be
gonna
very
get that
specific.
in just a blank robocall.
You can, and you can be very specific on your message. And say, I have a young couple who's looking to buy right now, looking to move in the next 30 to 60 days. If you're interested in selling in the next 60 days, he's calling. So now be more specific. Get it? All right. So what I'm trying to share with you in all of this, and in this scenario we're all talking about is presentation skills and conversation skills, right? Is if you don't have great presentation that you're excited to share with people, it doesn't matter what lead sources you have. If you don't know how to talk to them and ask them questions and get them to be on your side, right? That's all useless. That's a waste of money. We're throwing money out the window. So we go back to the whole idea, money-making activities, practicing your scripts and dialogues is extremely important. So what I'm sharing with you is problem number 4. Challenge number 4 is know the scripts and dialogues and questions, right?
With technology changing so rapidly, like for example, until this seminar, I never heard of street texting, I never heard of slide broadcasting.
Why don't you join coaching? I'll share with you some more.
I just came from coaching and they didn't tell me anything I didn't know. But
Okay, listen, I'm not selling you a coaching guide, just hear it out.
where I'm
Not selling
going
you a
with this is, because I listened to Mike Ferry broadcast. I listened to his father, Tom. I listened to Tom Ferry. I listened to his father, Mike Ferry. And one thing that I'm amazed at when I listen to the last few Tom Ferry broadcasts is he's coming up with these different platforms that I've never heard before.
Correct.
How do you stay on top of that?
Well, and that's a very good question. And one of the ways, and it doesn't cost you anything, is subscribe to the Tom Ferry Show.
I already have.
So that's what I'm saying, is you're getting information from there, talking about that. So it doesn't cost you guys anything. He's really out there in respect to a lead, okay? He's not his dad, he's not a cold hard prospect, that's not it. Our concept is very simple. You spend 1-2 hours a day having conversations with people about buying and selling real estate, you're gonna hit your goals, right? Have a goal in mind and have your actions meet that goal, right? Have your actions aligned with your goal. And creating a lead source for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, 10 plus, will get you there. If you don't have lead sources, if you don't have practicing scripts, if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have any of this, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's a great question, and really the easiest way to do it is watching someone like him. And he's going to bring it
Because
up.
for many years I've been more following his dad.
Right, and so was I. I mean, I started with Mike.
I've been listening to Mike Ferry tapes. I've been listening to
And he's a phenomenal salesperson.
his scripts, dialogues. That's
Exactly.
something.
He's a phenomenal salesperson.
And now I'm starting to follow his son.
And the concept behind it is we're changing. Is the business changing, guys?
Yes.
You know that Zillow's coming, right? Zillow will be in Canada once the lawsuit with Trev is gone, right? And Trev's going to lose. So Trev is taking it to the Supreme Court. I'm getting off topic here because they're a non-for-profit organization and they take a lot of money from us. So they're sitting with a lot of money and they become irrelevant if this pushes forward, where information should be given out to the consumer. It's a information consumer right now. They get more and more information. Not a bad thing for you guys. Not a bad thing at all. It's actually a really good thing.
It's an annoying thing. Like just as annoying when FSBOs were allowed to advertise on our MLS system.
There's that. But it also opens up more opportunities with a company like Zillow, like generating leads with them. If you partner up with them, you generate a tremendous amount of leads. There's a lot of potential there.
When do you think they heard about?
Once the lawsuit's done, so a year or two, right? Okay, we're off topic. All right, next thing, challenge number 5, last one, and then I'll take more questions, then we'll be done. So last one is business systems. Biggest challenge, business systems. So what sort of systems do you need to have in place? Well, I wrote down number 1 is you need to have a business plan. Hey, come on, let's be honest. It's a written document, a business plan of what you want to accomplish this year. That business plan should have numbers of what you did last year. And it should tell you, okay, if I work these lead sources, this is how much business comes from this lead source. If I work my database, there's so much business comes from my database. If I work online leads, so much business. So it's a business document that you need to put together. The second one is tracking your numbers. Keep in an idea, because you are running a business. So work things that make money for you. If things aren't making money for you, then cut them. Find something else, right? If you're calling for sale letters and you're not generating a lead for sale letters, stop calling for sale letters. It's not working. Do something else, right? Track your numbers. Next thing I wrote down is your database. Your database will always be your number one source of business. It will always be number one. So if that's the case, do you have one in place? Are you servicing those databases, those people? Next one would be a marketing plan. At the beginning of the year, you should have a plan. How much my budget is? What am I spending on online leads? What am I spending on Facebook? What's the return on investment? What's your ROI? Next one's time management. We talked about that. If you're not a scheduled type of person, no worries. Put yourself on a checklist. But make sure you understand there's time you should be working and there's time where you're taking time off. They're real important. Lead follow-up system. Someone here had a whole bunch of leads. Process them out. What are you doing to process your leads? Right? And then your admin. Who here is interested in hiring an assistant? Eventually. Who here is looking at building a team? Right? Eventually. So if you're planning that way, you first need to do everything. You need to be that inside salesperson. You need to be, showing and the marketing coordinator. And the very first person you hire is an assistant that helps with the transaction. Guess who the second person you hire is? Anybody have an idea?
Buyer's agent.
No. It's a good thought, but it's actually another assistant, a marketing coordinator. So a marketing coordinator now is going to help you bring in more leads. They're the ones going to be doing the social media. They're the ones going to help you do the videos. They're the ones going to be doing Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And then that marketing coordinator now brings in more leads for you. Now you bring in a inside salesperson. You bring in one? You bring in two?
Depends on.
No, you bring in three right away. Because they're not going to stick around. You bring in three inside salespeople right away. You're not paying them a salary. They go by commission. So you bring in three salespeople in right away. So you got your lead sources coming in, bring in three guys. One might stick around, two might stick around, definitely no three won't. Right? And that's going to help you.
If you're just getting started, for example, marketing coordinator, I guess it's either best to, like my job is to try and to sell homes. My job isn't just to be in front of a screen all day. So I guess you either hire someone or you're just going to start, what do you do? Like maybe go to something like Fiverr or something like that and get some.
Yes, you go to Fiverr and get some information like that, and you can have someone that outsources for you. There are other platforms out there that take care of a lot of media for you, right? That you can take a look at. I gave you an example of Street Text, which does the marketing for you on Facebook, right? So that's in essence a marketing coordinator, right? But there's other ones that can build content for you as well. So you may have to go with a third party first, and then eventually you want to more geared towards you and bring in someone.
Like for example, right now I'm in the process of giving my business a facelift.
Yep.
I mean, I've just switched over to a more sharp looking website provider. I'm updating all my marketing material. So again, this is going back to the whole thing about the marketing coordinator you're discussing.
Right.
And as part of the next step in this.
What I would recommend you do is watch Tom Ferry's show number 53, 54, and 55. And that talks about everything that he does for his online leads and how it's being processed. So Tom Ferry's show 53, 54, 55. Watch that. And he talks about like Hootsuite as an example, and takes care of all the different social media. So there's some tactical in that segment. It talks about the tactical aspect. It talks about what software and what you need, right? And what's the content, the message should be. Right. It's a great, each one's about 15, 20 minutes long. It's awesome. So watch that. All right, finishing up. When it comes to business systems, one thing that I didn't speak about is having measurable goals. We talk about goals in general, but you need to have what's called milestones. So for example, if I wanted to do 40 deals this year, which is a huge number, okay? That's a big number. That's $600,000. Big number, right? So if I wanted to do 40 deals, that means by March the 31st, how many deals do I need? Say 10. Right? It's a quarter, right? March 31st, I need 10 deals. So that's your milestone, right? You need to have goals like that, and that keeps it measurable within your systems, right? So if by March the 31st, I only have 5 deals, am I going to hit 40 by the end of the year? No, I'm more likely to hit 20. So these are measurable. This is what's tactical for yourself, right? So you need to have that in your systems. And then the last thing, before I let you guys go, anyone is interested in getting a free coaching call, right? Tom Ferry has offered a free coaching call for everybody here, right? So if you're interested, you don't have to, I'm not selling this, but if you are interested in getting a free coaching call, just leave me your business card, and then I'll get someone from the office to contact you guys if you're interested. Now, I'm done, so any questions?
What does that coaching call consist of?
I have no idea. It's a coaching call. I'm gonna sell you all day on coach. I don't know. You're gonna talk to you about your goals, what's your vision, what's your plan, a lot of stuff that we talked about. What's your lead sources? What are you doing to generate leads? So if you're interested in having just a conversation, a free coaching call, be like a 15, 20-minute coaching call, talking about your plan, your action, what are you doing, what you're not doing, what you should do.
Ferry or somebody?
We get directly. We got 6,000 coaching clients and 160 coaches. So it's a pretty big company right now. Yeah. Any questions from what we've covered?
So unlike Mike Ferry, where he would be telling you, first of all, sphere of influence, then we do things like just sold calls, we do things like maybe calling around till we get to the house that didn't sell calls, and then cold calls. So basically, we're not doing cold calls anymore because you have the robocall going instead, and you're focusing everything on.
So everything you
described
described,
the sphere of influence.
all the lead sources that you're describing is what we call active marketing. We're
Right.
Actively pursuing them.
Exactly. It's high impact as opposed to an open house, which is passive and low impact.
Okay. And I didn't share this with you, and you can just write this down. There are a number of lead sources that rank in the top 10, right? And I think I skipped that. I'm not sure why. I must have missed it. Now you're jogging my memory. When it comes to lead sources, the number one lead source that you're going to work will always be your database. So past clients, centers of influence will always be number one, right? They'll always be number one. Nothing you can do about that. If you don't work them, then you're not producing at your potential. Number two is actually online lead generation. That is the number. Number two is the top lead source. Online leads. What's that online leads? It's your website. It's the company's website. It's Facebook. It's Instagram. It's LinkedIn. It's Twitter. Right? Top four. Next one is actually geographical farming. Geographical farming. If you have a farm area and you're working it properly, that would generate a lot of business. And you know that. You see agents that are consistently sending out flyers, newsletters. Now, geographical farming can now take it to another level when you add in their street text or you add in their the slide broadcasting. You don't have to send a flyer. You can send a message, right? Well, door knock that area. You become the neighborhood professional, right? When you work it correctly. And then the next one I had was actually open houses. Open houses generate a ton of leads. And if you work it the way I shared with you, what's called a mega open house, you're now catering the seller and the buyer at the same time, right? Now you're doubling up your lead source. And it becomes more proactive because you're actually talking to people and contacting them ahead of time. And how many signs do you think you should put out there?
As many as you can.
Yeah, what's that number? Is it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 40, 60? You go high. Who cares? More the better. Put out 30.
Open house signs?
Yeah, get your name out there. That's how you dominate an area. Right? So, lead sources wise, those are the top four. We also call them the core four. Right? What you're describing with the Mike Ferry system, it's brilliant, it's fine, it's you going after the business. But what we want you to do is have 4 to 6 lead sources. Half of them proactive and half of them is them coming to you, so reactive. And this is gonna help your sanity. Because if you're sick one week and you're completely, unable to make calls, you're not generating any business that week. And that's the problem with only you generating business by making calls. It doesn't work. And in today's society, right, if you miss a week or two, you could really mess up the whole month, the quarter, the year. So it's really important that you understand that there's nothing wrong with having leads coming to you. There's nothing wrong with that. So set up 50-50. Any other questions? All right, I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope there's some
Thank you
value
so
for you
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Dan.